What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. I am most certainly doing well. We got a ton of great stuff to talk about in today's stream, so definitely we got some good stuff to talk about. But before we dive into that, we are going to be going over some great stuff in this stream. First, we are going to be covering the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks series summary. Then we are going to transition into the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals series preview. And then, obviously, we're going to go over any other Mets news and, of course, your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. But I see we got a dozen of you guys in the chat already so far, so I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, definitely means a lot. LFGM, let's go Mets, super excited. But before we dive into all of today's news, everyone please smash that like button, turn on those post notifications. If you're new to the channel, tell your friends about this channel. And if you have any comments, questions, and concerns, don't hesitate, drop it below. We're definitely going to be going over a lot of good stuff in today's stream. So let's stop wasting any time and let's take a little dive into what went down with the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks. Pretty interesting series, I will say, for the least. Obviously, diving into game one, this was Friday's game. Really intriguing game, really exciting game. Friday's game was crazy. And we had David Peterson on the bump. And David Peterson, I will say he pitched pretty good. For the most part, 5.2 innings pitched, only surrendering 3 hits, a run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Only going 65 pitches, with 42 of those being in the strike zone. So his accuracy was on point with the slider, with the fastball. So personally, I think he could have maybe won a little bit longer. Peterson's been a guy who has been getting out of jams pretty much more easier than he has been in the past. So that's really an interesting thing from David Peterson. Getting double plays to get out of jams is, maybe going to be his new thing. So Peterson looked phenomenal, I will say. Hopefully he can keep up what he's doing. Following that, Drew Smith came in to face one batter, get the out, surrendered a walk and a strikeout. Chasen Shreve came in. Trevor May came in. Trevor May looked a little iffy. His fastball wasn't necessarily there. Wasn't as meaty as I guess you could say. So that was an issue. And, of course, Edwin Diaz came in and blew the save. He one lucky slider, and unfortunately Christian Walker just tucked it in between the foul pole to tie things up. But then Seth Lugo came in to close out the game and get the save. But in terms of this Mets offense, I will say it definitely did pick up. Starting things off in the 4th inning, Pete Alonso had an RBI single to right to drive in Brandon Nimmo. Following that, in the 6th inning, Francisco Lindor hit a sacrifice fly to center to also drive in Nimmo. So we did see Nimmo he's definitely been very hot with scoring runs. Going into the 6th inning, Alonso had an RBI ground out to drive in Starling Marte. And in the 7th inning, one of the most shocking things that I will say that I have ever seen in my life, James McCann hit a 2-run homer, the longest of his career, going a total of 452 feet. That was phenomenal. McCann really needed that. That was really interesting. Then that drove in Jeff McNeil. And then obviously going into the 10th inning for the extra for the winning run, the go-ahead run, I guess you could say. Starling Marte reached on an RBI single to drive in McNeil. We saw he probably would have been out if it was any other player, but no, McNeil has some Starling Marte has some phenomenal speed. So really good to see, Marte really offer that speed, and I think that's one good thing Marte offers is speed. Because keep in mind, let's say that was Pete Alonso. It would have, 10th inning's over. Let's go into the 11th. So that was really phenomenal, Marte, to really hustle that ball out. So Edwin Diaz gets the win. Seth Lugo gets the save. And I guess if you want to look at it from a Diamondbacks perspective, Mark Melancon got the L. So, oh well. So that was game one. Getting into game two of this series, the Arizona Diamondbacks did take this game 5-2. This was a very rough game for the Mets. Luckily, I was not home watching this. I was out with some friends and family, so luckily I was not witnessing this game, but I did definitely catch a little bit of it, the tail end, towards the end of the game. So obviously it was a bullpen game, kind of unfortunate. You did have Trevor Williams come in, only 2 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. No walks and no strikeouts. Only going 62 pitches. Like I said, I didn't really watch this game, so can't give you too much of an analysis on what went wrong with Williams, but we could have some ideas. Following that, Sean Reed-Foley came in, Ottavino, Rodriguez, and then Adonis Medina came in for his Mets debut. Looked pretty solid there. In terms of the offense, like we did state, the offense was pretty quiet in this game. It was really just in the 5th inning. Jeff McNeil had a RBI triple to right field to drive in our friend Dominic Smith. And then later that, Tomas Nido had an RBI single to shallow center to drive in Jeff McNeil. So, kind of good to see the tail end of the lineup actually do something. So that was pretty big. Really good stuff there. So Mets lost game 2, but getting into game 3, yesterday's game and the final game of this series and the final, game of both series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mets got both of these 2 series from the Diamondbacks pretty quickly. Usually, we play them and there's kind of some time that passes by, you know what I mean. So pretty interesting there. But getting into game 3 of the final series, we had Tylor Megill on the bump. And I'm going to say this, Tylor Megill looked phenomenal. I will say really impressive on what we saw out of Tylor Megill. This dude is he's a unit. And it's safe to say, I mean, this dude has really taken over DeGrom's spot in this New York Mets rotation. It's just mind-boggling how much Tylor Megill has picked up. So taking a look-see at Tylor Megill, he pitched phenomenal. Going a total of 6.2 innings. In my opinion, he probably could have got that final out, but whatever. Surrendering 5 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts. The whiff rate was there. The swing and miss rate was there. The fastball velocity was there. He pounds the zone. He gets aggressive. The movement, it's phenomenal. It really is. I really like what I'm seeing out of Megill. He's been a fabulous pitcher for this New York Mets ball club, no doubt about it. Following that, with the tying run up, Seth Lugo came in, went 1 inning and a third. Only surrendered a hit. Otherwise, looked pretty good. Put some balls in play. So, hey, that's what you're going to take out of, bullpen guy, especially Lugo, who I guess you could say is kind of struggling a little bit. But he's been okay these last couple appearances. So, fingers crossed, you could keep it like that. Following that, we had Dolly Rodriguez, who came in for the save opportunity to strike out the final 2. And I will say Rodriguez, he's been looking pretty interesting. Rodriguez has been looking pretty good. Obviously, his first couple of appearances weren't too sharp, and I will say he's kind of shutting everyone up. So really good to see Dolly Rodriguez get, I guess his almost respect back, as you could say. So good to see there. Following that, let's get into some of this offensive production. In the first inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI single to center to drive in Mark Canha. Always good to see there. Your on-base machine guy get driven in. Getting into the 6th inning, obviously the offense was a little quiet for some parts of the game, but getting into the 6th inning, Starling Marte scored on a throwing error by catcher Herrera to third base. Marte was stealing second to third, and the third baseman was not able to field it properly. Regardless, he still would have scored on obstruction. So really good to see Marte being aggressive. Going into the 7th inning with bases loaded, Travis Jankowski, he just old classic baseball, took the walk, got the RBI, drove in J.D. Davis. Going into also following the next at bat, Starling Marte gets hit by a pitch to drive in Luis Guillorme. Going into the 8th inning, our friend J.D. Davis hit a solo home run to right, 391 feet. J.D. Davis really needed that home run. I will say Davis really needed that home run. That was a huge hit for Davis. He needed that. J.D. Davis hit that, obviously, to drive himself in. And as everyone said, what is it? Call J.D. Davis, 877 runs now, right? Is that what it is? And then following that, Luis Guillorme scored on an error to drive himself in. James McCann was safe at first base, little Bill Buckner style to the third baseman. So really good there. So the New York Mets did take this series 2 of 3. Don't get me wrong. I think it would have been nice if the Mets could have swept this series. I will say the offense was a little quiet. But I will say the pitching looked phenomenal. Take it with a grain of salt. You're playing one of the worst offensive teams in the game right now. But I still think regardless, the pitching really did look good. I will say if you want it for the sake of the Cardinals lineup. I will say they are actually looking a little bit better. They are actually starting to heat up. So if you're a D-backs fan, I guess start staying optimistic, I guess. So that was what went down with the New York Mets and the that's what went down with the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks. Obviously, getting into the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals, we have a huge series ahead. Obviously, the New York Mets are in St. Louis right now for a 3-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals are in a really interesting spot. They are currently 9-5. Yes, the New York Mets are 12-5. They have a much better record. Yes, they have played more games, so that's another thing to say. But we got a really interesting series coming ahead. Tonight, we will have Mad Max Scherzer on the bump, and I'm excited for that. That's going to be huge. We're going to have Max Scherzer on the bump for the New York Mets. Scherzer's been looking phenomenal for the Mets so far, posting a record of 3-0, a 2.50 ERA, 0.89 WHIP, in total of 18 innings pitched with 23 strikeouts. Max Scherzer has been really so much of a unit on the bump. I really want to say Scherzer has been looking really, really good. He has this whole mix of pitches, whether he's pitching from the stretch, whatever. He's a fine wine. He really is. Obviously, that hamstring issue was no issue at all. So that was, I guess, phenomenal out of him. Really excited to see Mad Max on the bump tonight for the New York Mets. Obviously, goal, I would like to see him go 6, maybe 7 innings. Would be nice. We know his last outing, he did have that no-hitter going into, at least the 6th or 7th inning. So I guess you could hope that Scherzer could put up numbers like that because Cardinals are a really interesting team. I mean, they have Nolan Arenado, who, as of right now, I guess would be the best offensive player. Statistically, Arenado has been on fire. So you hope and pray that the Mets pitching staff could try and, I guess, eliminate Arenado's explosive activity, as you could say. So fingers crossed that will happen. So it's going to be huge. And obviously, for the St. Louis Cardinals, they will have Miles Mikolas. I couldn't tell you much about him, but he's 1-0 on the season, 1.76 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, in total of 13 strikeouts. So interesting thing there. Getting into game 2, tomorrow's game, also at 7:45, we will have Chris Bassett on the bump for the New York Mets. Chris Bassett, also another guy who has been phenomenal for this New York Mets team. Currently 2-1 on the season, 3.0 ERA, 0.94 WHIP, in total of 18 innings, striking out 20. One interesting thing I do want to point out about Chris Bassett is definitely that, he's really aggressive on the mound. He obviously is not afraid to challenge hitters, and I think that's going to be huge coming into, obviously, this upcoming series with facing some heavy hitters like Nolan Arenado. So that's going to be huge. Obviously, taking a look at Chris Bassett, he's really been limiting hard contact so far in his 3 appearances, so that's been pretty nice. His velocity has been a little low, and it kind of always has been, but maybe crank it up a little could be nice. The sinker's been on point. Otherwise, the strikeouts have been phenomenal for him. He's been striking out a lot of guys. I will say, as of right now, this is one of his highest strikeout rates. Do I think he's going to be, striking out, 10, 11 guys a game? No, but I'll take what I can right now. And obviously, for tomorrow's game, they will have Jordan Hicks on the bump. Currently 1-1 on the season, 1.29 ERA, 1 flat zip, 7 innings with 8 strikeouts. Jordan Hicks, obviously, yes, the young Cardinals prospect making his first full season. If you guys know the Luis Guillorme at bat, when he had to face him with 21 pitches, that was the pitcher on the mound. Obviously, Jordan Hicks does throw really hard. I mean, and I'm talking 100, 101, 102 miles per hour. This guy really can throw hard, so you're going to have to look out for him. He will definitely be throwing really hard on the mound. But hey, a lot of this Mets offense is pretty good with trying to take on hard contact. So I'm not really that worried for this Mets offense when facing Jordan Hicks. I mean, I don't know if he has a pitch limit. He possibly may. So we'll have to see, I guess, how things can go for Jordan Hicks. And getting into game 3 and the final game of this series, which will be a 1:15 game. Kind of interesting, but we'll see how that goes. We will have Carlos "Cookie" Carrasco on the bump for the New York Mets. Currently 1-0 on the season, 1.47 ERA, 0.60 WHIP, 18.1 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts. One thing with Carrasco is he's able to get out of that first inning jams. Obviously, my biggest thing with Carrasco, like I said, is get out of the first inning, and he has. Kind of like Tom Seaver's analogy, get that leadoff batter out first, and that's what he's doing. He's really taking that to heart. Big thing with Carrasco is the barrels being limited. We saw he got barreled a lot last year. He's given up 2 home runs this season, and I'm not going to say, barrels, long ball. No, he can't do that. It's going to happen. But Carrasco's been looking good. Sweeping slider's been paying out for him a lot. So Carrasco, hopefully he can keep up what he is going to want to do. And of course, for the St. Louis Cardinals, it wouldn't be a matchup with the former New York Met. That's right. We will have our old friend, the left-handed southpaw, and Steven Matz on the bump for the Cardinals. And this is his first, appearance facing the Mets since Steve Cohen got a little triggered. We all know how that went during the offseason. But Matz has been putting up, I guess, an interesting season so far. He had one bad start where he really got lit up. But the lefty has been looking okay, I guess. 2-1 on the season, 5.27 ERA, 1.61 WHIP, total of 13.2 innings pitched, 19 hits, 17 strikeouts. He's been limiting the home runs, so I guess that's one thing with Matz. Whenever the Mets face a left-handed pitcher, I do always get a little nervous just because they always seem to have complexities against left-handed pitching. I don't know if that's going to be the case for the Mets. I mean, Mets does have some interesting pitches, fastball, slider that the Mets, especially guys like Pete Alonso, could take advantage of because Mets kind of has a hard slider that just gets the high end of the plate, and that's Pete Alonso's bread and butter. So you could really hope that, the Mets offense can put up good numbers against Mets. And they did. I mean, last year, I will say they did put up good numbers against Steven Matz when facing the Toronto Blue Jays. So I guess you hope they could try and get something working there. So that'll be the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals series. Super exciting. Obviously, yes, Cardinals are a more interesting team. Defensively, they are a defensive wizard team. This was a team that had, I think, 6 Gold Gloves last year? Phenomenal. So really good defensive team there. Fair pitching. I mean, Jack Flaherty is out, so I guess that is a good thing for the Mets. Bad thing if you're a Cardinals fan. I'm not sure when he'll be back, but I guess see how things go there for Jack Flaherty. Their pitching's okay, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's phenomenal, but I think they're up there. Their bats and their offenses definitely is what is going to help them. Help them get alive a little bit more. So really interesting to see how this New York Mets series against the St. Louis Cardinals goes. My biggest thing would be take at least 1 out of 3. 2 out of 3 would be phenomenal. But right now I'm saying don't get swept because you got to keep in mind this is a really interesting team. Keep in mind. So we'll see how things go. So let's get into all your guys' comments, questions, concerns. If you guys have any comments, if you guys have any questions related to the New York Mets, do not hesitate. Feel free and drop it in the comment section below. We definitely got some great stuff talking. I see you guys are pumping out the chat already, so I do appreciate that. So what's going on, everyone? Logan, Peter, Trey, Ibindos, Mark's here, talking Mets with Rob. What's going on? Alex says, how are you? I'm doing well, man. Super excited to watch the Mets game tonight. Hope you're doing well. Peter, what's going on? Kobe Merlinful says, we need to take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm asking for. I'm not saying, sweep the Cardinals, sweep the Cardinals, sweep the Cardinals. You got to keep in mind, this is a very, really interesting Cardinals team that is going to put up good numbers. Defensively, they're wizards. So when it comes to shifting, you're just going to pray that you're able to work something out in terms of the shift. So we'll see how things go there. Obviously, that's going to be a huge thing. The defense is, in my opinion, I think they're the best defensive team in baseball, if you want my honest opinion. Marco says LFGM. Trace's thoughts on the new Kansas City Royal City Connect jerseys. They're pretty clean. Yeah, I did like them. I actually did think they looked pretty cool. As you guys do know, I am a huge jersey fanatic. I love collecting jerseys, hats, and all that stuff. I know I haven't really been wearing a lot of jerseys in my videos these last couple days, but I do promise you I'm a huge jersey fanatic. And whenever there's a new jersey that comes out, baseball related or really just anything, I really do like to try and talk about it and all that stuff. I definitely may honestly consider doing a video going over ranking all of the MLB City Connect jerseys. I was debating something like that. I was going to do it last year, but I don't know, kind of lost track of time with how the season went. So possibly I may honestly consider doing that. That could be something ahead. But I think they look pretty fresh. I mean, in my opinion, my favorite City Connect jersey would probably be the Marlins. But I don't think they're too bad. Kobe says thoughts on the Michael Conforto injury. Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate what happened with Conforto. I had a feeling there was something else going on. I think it's pretty obvious, just because, that one injury itself, I mean, he had an injury. We know that, but we didn't know he had surgery because of that. So I think it was pretty obvious that there was something else going on. Boras, like I said, he is a tough son of a bitch, I will say. He fights for his guys, so I respect him on that. He fights for the top best dollar deal. But we'll see. Obviously, I mean, in my opinion, that'll probably decrease his value. Keep in mind, I mean, he had a rough 2021, and then he didn't play at all this year, so that's definitely going to decrease Conforto's value. So I don't know. In my opinion, I think Conforto would be a fool not to come back to the Mets, because I think they would honestly give him the best deal. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there will be teams out there to give him a crazy deal and feel that he's going to be back to his regular self, but we'll see. In my opinion, I think his value has gone down because of that. Luke, what's going on? Luke says, do you play fantasy baseball? I do. I'm currently in 3 leagues. I'm in 2 Yahoo leagues and 1 ESPN league. In my ESPN league, I am 1-1. In my Yahoo, I am also 1-1. And my other Yahoo, I am 2-0. So definitely interesting. I do love fantasy baseball. I don't do anything for money, though. I just do it for fun with my friends and some YouTubers and stuff. Peter says, are there any other reasons besides Cano taking steroids that leads people to not like him? That's a really good question. So when it comes to Robinson Cano and I guess taking steroids, I think the biggest reason that people don't like Cano, yeah, it's probably because of the steroids. But I think another huge thing that comes to Cano is just he kind of takes up a lot of space. I think his contract is something that a lot of Mets fans, including myself, are not super fond of. So I think that is, the huge thing that a lot of people tend to dislike Robbie Cano about. So, like I said, I mean, that's my overall thing about Cano. I mean, when it comes to Cano, like when they got him, yeah, I wasn't super excited how we got him. I mean, how we gave up Kellenic, Dunn, and I mean, practically a quarter of our farm system. I was upset about that. But I was like, okay, Cano veteran presence at the time. I mean, this team had some young guys like McNeil, Nimmo. So, I was saying, okay, we'll see how he could help them out. But yeah, I mean, the Cano signing itself was just horrible. I mean, obviously that contract you have to pick up. But what really lost my interest in Cano was the steroid use. I will say, as a person, who played a lot of, baseball throughout, my K through 12 grade school, the one thing I hate is a cheater. That is the one thing I hate. And I think a lot of fans, including myself, lost respect for Cano when he cheated. I get it. He wasn't really cheating for, I guess, getting better. He was trying to cheat so he can get his performance back. And okay, I understand that, but hey, it's still cheating. So that's why, in my opinion, I am definitely still a little upset about the whole Robinson Cano little incident, I guess you could say. So we'll see what goes on with Cano. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We'll see. Trey says DeGrom received a CT scan yesterday and an MRI today. If all goes well and DeGrom can start throwing, when do you think he is safe to return? So I actually do want to edit that a little, Trey. I believe he got the CT scan on Friday, and he did get the MRI, I think, today or yesterday. Well, as of right now, like, that is true. He would be able to start throwing, like light toss, catch, maybe throw off a slow, probably as soon, as now, I guess, if he's clear. Thing is, he needs a whole spring training. I mean, keep in mind, he didn't really have a spring training, or at least the full one. He had like 2 appearances, yeah, but that's nothing. He needs more than that. So we're not going to get him back. He's going to need a month. He'll need a month. So right now, it's the end of May. It's the end of April. So probably like Memorial Day weekend, I think. if all goes to plan, because he's going to need a full month to, get ready. Alex, what's going on? Galapos says, it's crazy to think that after all these years, I loved Robbie Cano when he was a Yankee and Mariner, but now I can't stand him. I'm sorry, but he doesn't have much left. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the biggest thing with Cano right now is just I don't think he has anything left in the tank. I think his power's gone. I mean, I couldn't tell you his ISO off the top of my head, but it's probably, double digits. Thing with Cano, like I said, he has no power left. I mean, we see so many bloopers to the first base side and going into foul territory. I like I said, I agree with you. I loved Cano when he was at the Mariner. Even when he was at the Yankees, I had a little bit of respect for him. I mean, won a World Series. I mean, broke so close to so many records. But now it's just, with the steroids, he doesn't have much left in the tank. You have that horrible contract. It just, it's not appetizing to have him on the team. Kobe, what's going on? Kobe says the Mets need to stop giving this much playing time to Robbie Cano and start playing J.D. Davis and Dom Smith to designated hit more. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not expecting, or not even so much expecting, but it's one thing if J.D. Davis and Dom Smith aren't putting up good numbers. They're going to put up better numbers than Robbie Cano. I'll tell you that. Those two guys are going to put up better numbers than Robbie Cano. And the fact is, you're not playing those guys. They have more speed, more versatility defensively. I don't understand what interest Showalter has in Cano. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I would create the Andy Robinson Cano fan page if I could. Gio, long time no see, man. He says it's me, bro. I'm back. 2 of 3. I'll take it. Probably would have got the sweep, but I'll take it. 5 straight wins in a series. Yeah, absolutely, Gio. Good to see you back. Hope you're doing well. Haven't heard from you in a while, so good to see you back on here. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take that win. Timothy, what's going on? Timothy says, Warder, will the Mets sweep the Cardinals in 3 in St. Louis? As of right now, I don't think they'll get the sweep. I think they have a lot. I think the Cardinals are too much of a good team to do it against. I mean, hey, you could have done it against the Giants, and they won 107 games last year, so you never know. But in my honest opinion, I don't think they're going to get the sweep. I think they could take 2 out of 3. It's either going to be 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3 is what I'll accept, but I can't picture a sweep in my opinion. Trey says is the Mets bullpen a concern? Absolutely. I mean, yeah, the Mets bullpen is sorry, I'm a little sick. The Mets bullpen is one huge thing that I am a little bit worried about. Yeah, I know they had 14 straight innings where the bullpen went unscathed, but, that could blow at any given point. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, our bullpen problems are fine. There definitely is some issues to address. The lefty shortage is, a little bit still relevant. They're definitely going to be trading for a left-handed reliever at the deadline. That's 100%. So there's plenty of more stuff to do. Alex says, are you going to do any game streams? Yeah, absolutely. I would like to do a couple game streams this season. I know right now, with my work schedule and school schedule, I've been taking on extra hours at work, got to pay for school somehow. So my schedule has been very busy. I was lucky enough to make it on here today. I mean, right after the stream, I got to dip out and, go continue doing what I got to do. But definitely, maybe come in May, June, once school is over and, I have more freedom, more free time, I guess. Maybe I'll definitely do a couple game streams. Obviously, some game streams would be nice. I know next Sunday, the New York Mets are playing on Sunday Night Baseball against the Philadelphia Phillies. So possibly seeing how my schedule goes, maybe I'll live stream that or maybe the last 3 innings or something. We'll see. Will the Mets sweep the Cardinals and end their road trip? We'll see, Timothy. I mean, like I said, I'm thinking 1 of 3 or 2 out of 3. Will Francisco Alvarez get called up to AAA this year, says Marco. Yeah, I mean, listen, you would really like to see Alvarez get called up to AAA this year, and I think it's certainly possible. Alvarez has been looking phenomenal so far. In AAA, the power is insane. The only thing is I don't want to rush him, and I get it. I've said it before. I'm going to repeat it again for the new people on the channel, and if, just haven't heard me say it. I don't want to rush up. I don't want to rush up Alvarez. I get it. We don't like McCann. He's horrible. the thing is, I've always been a proponent of calling up prospects young. I've always been a proponent of calling up, our 20-year-old, 21-year-old prospects to possibly have guys Acuna's age, Soto's age, whatever. But catcher is that one position that I don't agree with that on. If you're a first baseman, if you're a second baseman, if you're an outfielder, sure. Catcher is that one position because you're the head of the game. I mean, the defensive metrics are huge, and I'd hate for the Mets to call up Alvarez and he's not ready. That would be really annoying and really unfortunate. Because don't get me wrong, offensively, I think he's there. Absolutely. He has insane power. But defensively, I think there's always room for improvement. The defensive metrics, framing, I think there's always room. So, yeah, I would say give Alvarez, in my opinion, at least a year in AAA. I think he'll probably be called up to AAA maybe next month or June. See how things go there. If he continues to progress in AAA, I could see him get the start in next April, in my opinion. Mets fans MB says, hey, Mr. Speeder, he got a speeding ticket. I have not got a speeding ticket. Michael says, do you think the Mets home game should start at 6:10, 6:40, 7:10? That's a good question. In my opinion, I would probably like them to start at 6:10. Maybe 6:40, actually. As a college student, I have to wake up very early, and that is very unfortunate. And I will say the Mets do have a large youth fan base. I mean, whenever I'm watching games, I see a lot of younger fans in the stands, so that could benefit. 7:40 to 7:10, that's a full 30 half-hour difference. So instead of the game ending 10:15. We could see the game ending 9:30. So, that could be huge. So I would definitely be huge on that. And I know the Phillies did it. The Phillies are doing it. And I've really liked how the Phillies are doing that this season. Trace is excited for Mad Max. Scherzer to pitch today. The rotation is looking really good. Who do you think, I'm assuming you meant to say, what do you think the rotation will look like once DeGrom comes back? Yeah, I mean, once DeGrom comes back, this rotation will look interesting. I think for starters, David Peterson's probably going to go to the bullpen. And it's questionable. Do you rely on a six-man rotation? I think that'll be beneficial for DeGrom, but I don't know how much Scherzer is going to be fond of it. You would have a rotation of DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, Carrasco, Walker, McGill. And I guess what comes into question is Peterson's in the bullpen, no doubt about that. And I think everyone's fine with that. But would you be willing to put McGill in the bullpen? And I will say McGill's been looking phenomenal now, but that pitch count is what worries me a little bit. I've stated before, 73 innings pitch max in the minor leagues. I mean, he's already at 20, 23. So, come in June, come in July, I mean, is he going to get fatigue? Is he going to get worn out? I mean, we saw that last year. So maybe the bullpen could be nice, and then he could be that next man automatic, there's a double header, or there's a rainout delay, or, someone gets taken out early. He could be that long reliever. It could be something to examine. But I trust me, I would hate to see McGill taken out of the rotation because he's been phenomenal so far for the Mets. Connor says, don't underestimate how much Wayne Kirby has helped the first base coach position. Helping turn these guys loose on the base pass and having a great rapport with the players has quietly been a big help. Absolutely. I think the big thing with Wayne Kirby is the aggressiveness on the base pass. Him and Joey Cora sending guys, if it's a single and you have Lindor or Marte or someone with some speed, try and hustle it out, make it a double. But who would have think that the Mets are top 5 in stealing stealing bases in the league? That's just phenomenal. I mean, I would have never thought that the Mets would have been that. Because keep in mind, the Mets are a team throughout their history have never really had many fast guys. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you've had your Reyeses. I get that. But who would have think that you have multiple guys who could possibly, go 25 for 20, 25, 25. So that's going to be huge. So I'm pretty excited to see how that goes. Stealing bases is huge. I mean, you look at a lot of teams like the Padres, the Marlins, who have a lot of young athleticism, a lot of young talent. And you hope the Mets could transition that. So I think that's going to be, a huge thing for, this ball club ahead. Dill says nothing but series wins. If we could keep the streak just alive all season, it would be insane. We would be 5 for 5 in this series. so far. Just keep winning series, and we aren't going away. Yeah, I mean that's literally the moral of the story. I mean, Dose, you summed it up exactly. I don't care about sweeps. Sweeps would be awesome, but just take series wins. If you could take the series win, then you're finishing. I mean, 162 games. You take 2 or 3. Yeah, I mean, you would be finishing with 90 or so games. So that's what I would say is keep doing that. Take series wins, and we'll see how things go. Peter says maybe we judge Dolly Rodriguez a bit too harshly soon. He's looked nasty his few outings, even against righties. Yeah, I mean, the big thing with Rodriguez is that they wanted him in the scenario to face that, the left-handed presence. Obviously, you lost Luke, so kind of gets rid of that reasoning. But yeah, I will say Rodriguez has been looking nice. Has some nice velocity. The only thing I will say is, I mean, you traded Miguel Castro for him. I mean, both of them do have command issues, so you would hate for him to come out, walk a batter, hit a batter, ball goes to the backstop, and then a base hit that drives in 2 runs. We saw that a lot last year with Castro. Was that he would come into games and the command wouldn't be there, and he'd give up 2 runs, and those 2 runs itself really would kill the Mets. So we'll have to see how things go. Hayden, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in, man. I've been dosed as good series against the D-backs. Now back to the challenge facing a Cardinals team. I hope the Mets bat could stay alive. Yeah, I mean, that is the biggest thing, man. Absolutely. Like I said, Cardinals are a wicked defensive team. So, when it comes to trying to pull the ball or, try and beat the shift, you're going to have a little complexities against that. I really hate to say that. So hopefully, you pray, fingers crossed, the Mets are really able to make an attempt on trying to beat this Cardinal shift. Because defensively, they are, I think, what did I say, like 6-7 Gold Gloves last year. I don't know if that's ever been done in Major League Baseball history. Probably has. Joe, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Kobe says, I love the new Mets mentality on the base pass. Very aggressive. That's what's helping us win games. Absolutely. Old baseball mentality. Joe says, speaking of fanatics, who's the better mascot, Philly Fanatic or Mr. Met? Call me crazy. I do kind of like Philly Fanatic, I will say. But Mr. Met's awesome, though. What's up with Seth Lugo? Yeah, Lugo has not been looking like himself. I think the biggest thing with Lugo is the breaking pitches have not been connecting. We'll see with Lugo. I mean, like I said, he hasn't really been his full self since, I guess you could say, 2019. We'll see if he can pull it together. Kobe says on May 1st, when the roster goes from 28 to 26, who do you think? What do you think we should do with Robinson Cano? Get him the heck out of here. Nah, realistically, I think it's going to be hard to get rid of Cano. That contract is just going to be. I mean, I'm willing to say another Bobby Bonilla, and I'm willing for the Mets to do that. I'm willing to take a lot of Mets moments. But yeah, I mean, Cano's horrible. I mean, he doesn't offer much. I mean, his bats look so effortless. When I see him come in, the swings he's taking just look so effortless. I mean, like I said, he needs juice. His power's gone. So many, light bloopers to the first base foul line. He's just not there. I mean, he's slow. He doesn't offer much. Defensively, he's okay. I mean, I'm not going to say he's anything good or bad, but whatever. Yeah, Cano's going to be always on this team's back. Peter says, I love what I'm seeing from Tyler McGill. His velocity and movement is up. Yeah, McGill's been looking good. He's a pretty tall dude, I will say. Thoughts on the Yankees-Guardians incident? Yeah, I mean, very exasperating. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's this fan base. All fan bases, it's not a fan base. It's a certain group of people that do stupid stuff. I will say that was pretty messed up. On with Quan getting hurt, they were, cheering that he got hurt. Keep it to yourself. If you're going to cheer, keep it to yourself. I'm not really sure what went down with Miles Straw and those fans. That was a little dumb. Throwing garbage on the fans is just dumb because your team just walked it off. And what do you want in the paper the next day? Gleyber Torres walks it off, or Gleyber Torres walks it off, fans throw garbage, and the Yankees players run and yell at him. Cardinals are the best team to beat, in my opinion. They always beat up the Mets, so taking the series would be huge. Yeah, I mean, Cardinals have always had a history of beating up the Mets. Alvaro Ryan, what's going on? He says, Mets are looking good so far. How will they finish the season? Yeah, we'll see how they finish the season. They're good so far. They're usually good first half and then suck in the second half or vice versa. Taking it game by game. That's all I'll ask for is take it game by game and see what you can get. Trey says, I don't care about Cano's contract. Steve doesn't care. I care about Buck. Exactly. Start giving more bats to Smith. Start play McNeil at second more. I'm not against, putting Guillorme at second and then, McNeil, in the outfield. That's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm tired of seeing Cano in this lineup. And he's in it today. He's DHing. Like, why? JD Davis had a great game yesterday. Peter says, I hear Taiwan Walker is pitching in Port St. Lucie. When will he be back? Yes. Let me pull up Twitter. I heard that he went 4 innings and he looked pretty good. I don't know what his slash line was, but I'll take it. I will take it. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, I'll take it. Cano, like I said, in his few starts, he has been looking good. I will say that. So we'll see. Hopefully next week. Paulie says Mets suck. They blow it every year. Well, yeah, we'll see. Marco says Mets need to give less playing time to Cano. Absolutely. Likewise. Travis says 12 wins. Absolutely, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Paulie says Cano is the slowest and most useless player I've ever seen. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you on that. I don't really see an interest in Cano at all. Yeah, I'm done with Cano. I'm tired of him seeing these DHs, and yeah, Cano's got to go. Connor says Yamamoto in the bullpen. That's a possibility. Keep in mind if the roster-wise, you're gonna have 26 man on the roster, so keep in mind you're gonna have to figure out something there. Yeah, we'll see. Something can definitely happen with Yamamoto in the bullpen. He could be interesting guy. I mean, keep in mind pitchers only have 5 options, so you got to be careful if you call him up and send him down because there's going to be situations where you're going to need him, and it would suck to get 5 options out of the dude. Trey says, I still can't believe the Mets offense with 2 outs and how well they have been hitting with runners in scoring position in those situations. Yeah, it's the new mentality. I will say it's been huge. LFGM, absolutely. Travis says Jeff McNeil 2.0. Yeah, McNeil's been looking pretty good, I will say. Super exciting to see what McNeil could do this series. Kobe says, what's your favorite ballpark? That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of interesting ballparks out there. Trying to think. I mean, Citi Field's nice. The only thing with Citi Field is that it's really based off of Ebbets Field, and the Mets didn't play there. The Dodgers played there. Maybe Camden Yards. I mean, Camden Yards is nice. The area near it is not the best, but we'll see. Alvaro says, is Ohtani the best player in MLB? No, because he's a pitcher. I don't know if you guys know that. One of the reporters, I forgot her name, said that Ohtani wasn't the best because he's a pitcher. But, yeah, I mean, I think you could argue he is definitely one of the top tier. I mean, it's insane to see a guy, go 2 for 3, 3 for 3, and then the next day, fan 10 guys. So that's crazy to think. Super exciting to see Ohtani play in the future. Hopefully he could start picking it up offensively. I know he's been a little quiet offensively this season, but I'm not gonna go all anal about that. Yeah, I think Ohtani's been looking really good so far this season. It's really interesting to see Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon play together. Sorry, I'm just charging my device, but really interesting. I mean, we know that we saw all 3 of them only play like 19 games last year. So now we're really getting the full-on performance out of those guys. So that's huge. Franco says, good luck this series, man. It's going to be a good matchup. Let's freaking go Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, super, super exciting for your Cardinals. Sorry, my voice is very sore. I'm a little sick under the weather. Yeah, Cardinals looking good. Franco, super excited for your Cardinals, definitely. Alvarez says Field of Dreams. If it counts, yeah, absolutely. I think Field of Dreams is an interesting ballpark. Yeah, I guess I can count if you want. I mean, in terms of Major League, yeah. I mean, White Sox did play there, and I believe they're doing another series there this year, so that's going to be interesting. So we're probably going to call it a stream here, everyone. I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, we got a lot of good stuff in today's stream, so definitely do always appreciate that. But like I said, in today's stream, we did go over the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals series preview, the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks series summary. So that was really interesting. We went over all your guys' great comments and questions. Yeah, that was really it in terms of today's stream. Really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, like I said, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications. If you're new to the channel, tell your friends about this channel. Give this video a like, comment, subscribe. And a million other things. Like I said, I do definitely want to start doing more stuff on the channel. I may possibly upload a Tyler McGill video, possibly, breaking, kind of an analysis on him, talking about, why he's been so dominant so far, this season. So maybe I definitely would like to cover that. And yeah, so otherwise, that's really it. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, please feel free, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, tell your friends about this channel. And yeah, otherwise, let's take this series win against the St. Louis Cardinals, and I'll be happy. That's all I'm going to ask for. Take this series W, and we're good. Otherwise, appreciate y'all tuning in. Till next time, baseball fans, see ya.